Good to see you all. Good turnout for a bank holiday, at least in parts of the UK. Yeah, so I'll say a few things and then lead us into a meditation, and then there'll be a chance for some of you to say something about your practice if you'd like to. Uh, so sometimes when I'm thinking about what I might say, I I use or I get inspiration from some of the daily Tejaniya, little quotes from U Tejaniya that I know some of you sign up for. You get a little email every day. And yeah, so there was one that caught my eye a few weeks ago, and it was about expectations. It was about expectations in practice. And it went something like it's a common mistake to look to expect to have good experiences instead of trying to work with the poisons, with greed, hatred, and delusion. And I think the work that was it was really talking about an attitude where you think, oh, I don't I'll just sort of sit back, if you like, sit back and be aware, but I don't really engage that strongly with what's actually happening. In the back of the mind, maybe there's a view that this is enough, it's enough to do this without engaging in a way that the quality of sampajanya, in a way, engaging intelligently with the practice, not an intellectual intelligence, but really being present to what's going on. And what's going on quite often is some aspect of the poisons of craving, aversion, or delusion. And that can go unrecognized if there's this expectation in the mind that something a wanting that something good will happen, or something that we think is a sign that our practice is going well. So expectation and craving are very much the same territory. So the first thing that we need to do is recognize that expectation in the mind, or recognize what that feels like in the mind. Analayo has Bhikkhu Analayo has a lovely little list where he says, well, good experiences do come. And often how we define a good experience is as something pleasant to the body and mind is happening. So he says, well, there are, pleasant experiences when the body feels healthy, when feelings are pleasant, when perceptions are welcome and interesting, when volitions mean that we sort of accomplish what we want, or we feel that there's a certain mastery over something. And what else he said? Oh, and when consciousness knows agreeable experiences. So he's going right through the skandhas there with that lovely little list. And this is what they amount to, these pleasant experiences, often something that the mind is sort of already got an idea of that's pleasant and welcome and wanted. And on the other side of it, of course, the wanting to avoid unpleasant experiences, pretty much the opposite of that little list of Analayos, deeply hardwired to go towards those pleasurable experiences, and that can set up an expectation in the mind that this is what's good in practice, this is what's right, it's when I have these pleasant experiences. So it's really helpful to recognize expectations, recognize this sense of, oh, this is what means it's going well. When something pleasant's happening, meditation should feel good. But actually, what happens when we are just with things as they are, however they are, and that can be quite unpleasant, because sooner or later, a pleasant experience, even if things start out pleasant, sooner or later, something unpleasant comes along because things change. So it can be really helpful to ask questions that help recognize what's happening in the mind. So we're really watching the mind in an open way. Maybe we spot expectations, maybe we spot the poisons or some aspect of the poisons. So questions like, what is the mind knowing? That's my favorite, and I know it's a favorite of some of you here. What is the mind knowing? So we're asking what's happening in the mind in the moment. You could drop in the question, what is there an expectation that I should be feeling good or okay, that things should be heading in a certain direction? It might be useful to just check, is the mind okay with what's happening, or is it complaining? Is there some sort of complaint or a sort of stoic attitude, or is there sometimes a collapse or a sort of giving up when things are a bit difficult? Oh, there's no point practicing when the mind is like this. I remember having a little incident like this in Burma with U Tejaniya, and I said, and I sort of wrote off 3 days. I said, oh, I had a migraine the last 3 days, and I probably even went like that. And he took me to task about it and said, you know, you don't write off any of your experience. Basically, there's value in all experiences that you have. So it's really about being prepared to be interested in whatever's happening. What can the mind learn from that experience of craving or aversion or delusion happening in the moment? What can the mind know about it that it didn't know before? And sometimes the difference is simply that we know that experience, but we've never really been present to it. So then we know it in a new way, a way that's much more alive. And knowing like this can really strengthen awareness, because awareness enjoys being with what's happening. It's much harder for awareness to work when we're aware of an idea, and expectations are an idea of what we think could happen or might happen. So we keep knowing directly what's happening and knowing it with awareness. And over time, maybe see how those poisons calm down in the mind and how awareness strengthens. So if we keep watching the mind with what's actually happening, then we get to see those changes. And that can lead to a greater confidence in the practice and an understanding that we don't actually need to have these pleasant experiences that we think we do. And the ones that we do have, the pleasant experiences, actually come from staying with what's actually happening. It comes from seeing that there can be that these difficult mind states can be worked with in this way. And we start to see the conditions that lead to certain positive mind qualities increasing and other more unhelpful mind qualities decreasing. So in that way, we really sort of get to know how to work with the mind, if you like. And that work is the work of awareness, simply put. And this process in itself is the reward. This process leads to these good experiences that we can find ourselves either expecting or sort of craving after. Okay, good. I'll leave it there. Let's set up for meditation. I'll just turn my screen around.